retro gaming is still so important to the gaming market. In fact, recently it came out that 14% of Americans are playing games for the year 2000. Like, I love going back to play old games as it reminds me of my childhood. Nostalgia is a powerful drug, as it sends us back to when we were kids again. The happy times. Regardless of the leaps in graphics, people always moan that the old games were the best. Oh, back in my day. Like, how many times do we hear this? If I had a dime for every time I heard this. A dime? Who has a dime anymore? And the reason for this is that they were simply perfect, and if you were picked this up today, you'd still be blown away by some of them. So here's a list of 7 games that I believe have aged like fine wine. Now, the rules for this are as follows. I'm looking at the 7th generation and below, and also 1 game per franchise. Now, if you do believe this video is worth watching and you enjoy it, please give it a like and subscribe for more content. It takes a second for you guys, but for me it means so much. If you want to support the show financially, you can do it at patreon.com/retrowars, where for $1 each month you get your own additional podcast called DLC, where we just chat about random stuff that could be happening. Right, let's get into it, shall we? 7 games that I believe have aged like a fine wine. Mega Man X. Now, having only played this for the first time, I was very nervous with there being so many Mega Man games. Let's be honest, there's like, what, a million of them in 4 different universes? Many told me to start with the best one, which, well, they considered, and that was X, and they were goddamn right. The colours pop out of the Super Nintendo, letting those gorgeous 16-bit graphics fill my eyes and let them bleed. The gameplay was simply solid, with Mega Man X itself being a revamp for the series, which allowed more exploration, but also had that secret source of the Robot Masters. It also had incredible music, which would make my ears bleed, and I'd be happy to let it do so. It also allowed Mega Man X, to pull off an Hadouken and insta-kill practically everything, even bosses, which was amazing. Like, you just walk up to and go, Hadouken! And they're dead, which was hilarious itself. Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, I've always been a bit meh towards superhero games, even though I'm a huge geek. I love my comic books, I really do. But especially Batman, because after I played a few on the Mega Drive, I just sat there and cried in the corner and thought, I'm never going to be the Dark Knight. However, this all changed with Arkham Asylum, which is possibly, if not the, best ever comic book video game ever made. You control Batman as he breaks into Arkham to sort out all the nonsense that's going on because of the Joker. But this time, you truly feel like Batman, either hiding like a ninja and scaring your foes from above, using the gadgets like the Batarang and explosive gel, gliding across the gorgeous world, oh that was so much fun, or simply beating the living crap out of anyone who even moves. Oh my god, the combat was amazing. Like, never has beating up a bunch of goons felt so good. Like, it was so fun. Especially when you add gadgets into getting the combos and you want to get the highest one you can get. It was just amazing seeing Batman flip. It was like poetry in motion. Oh, it was just beautiful. With a gritty and dark atmosphere and incredible voice acting from the late Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, this made Batman games credible again and started off the Arkham series. Additionally, considering the failure that was the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I would rather play this game a million times over. And sadly, so would everybody else. Smash Bros. Melee. Now, it's the 2nd game in the series after the first one was essentially a big experiment. It was a cult classic, and obviously Nintendo were into that and went, right, money, here we go. However, due to its success, the 2nd is where the game became serious. I noticed immediately there was a change in style, and the way the characters controlled was so dramatic. The game felt a lot tighter with so many more characters introduced. This is the reason Melee is on this list, as it's heralded as one of the best in the series. Yes, against Ultimate, people still have that argument. The game is still played competitively, and I have it on my GameCube. Although I will say they nerfed Pikachu. Why did they nerf Pikachu? I was a god in the original Smash Bros. On the N64 with him. How dare you wreck my favourite character? It also made people cry out and go, who's Roy? Who's Marth? Well, guess what? I was saying the same about Ness. Stupid Ness and a peak of fire. Stupid thing. Resident Evil 4. Another experiment, as Capcom were not sure where to take the series. Hell, if you look into the whole history of it, that's where Devil May Cry came from. Eventually, after several reworks, Resident Evil 4 was born. It changed the fixed camera angles to an over-shoulder view, which has revolutionized gaming. Like, how many games have stolen that idea? Resident Evil 4 brought back Leon Kennedy from his adventures in Raccoon City, and now he's here trying to save the president's daughter. Gone were the zombies, and now arrived the Las Plagas. The game looked amazing, and turning Resident Evil into an action horror worked really well. It managed to keep some of the cheesy dialogue, but also provided moments of pure horror and gore. Like, I'm not going to lie, every time I hear a chainsaw, I get horrified and a little bit of pee comes out. Yes, the game has been remade, which was absolutely insanely good, but the original still holds up and I can play it and still enjoy it. And also remember, save the dog. You save the goddamn dog. If you don't save that dog, I don't save you and it all goes to shit. Super Mario World. We all know I'm a Sonic man, but if you have to say, give me any platformer that you could just jump into and have a good time, I'm gonna have to say it's Super Mario World. It's the SNES debut game and it's still one of the best on the system and is often argued one of the top 3. The game looks incredible and more importantly, controls so tight. It was the first Mario game I ever played, and it will be the first game my daughter's played. I'm training her how to play that. You could also remove this from history and then just release it today, and people still think it's a classic. Look, as well as having the best power-up ever in the cape, it also introduced Yoshi, which I like, although others hate him and wish to sacrifice him to the gods. No, I just hated him after Mario 64. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Let's get taken for a ride, shall we? The Versus series accumulated to where Capcom decided, throw everything at it, throw the kitchen sink. With an absolute huge roster, and I mean huge, it was one of the biggest ever seen at the time. It had a 3 versus 3 mechanic going away from its 2v2 in the past game. But what it was known for was the game was so over the top, it just provided pure chaos. Is the game balanced? Nope. No, not at all. It's not balanced in the slightest. I don't care, it's great. And all we did was wanted it to come back. But due to licensing, the game was locked away forever. Until Capcom decided to have the Marvel vs. Capcom collection and the whole world lost its mind. So yeah, we love this game. Streets of Rage 2. Like, I'll fight you all. I will go to your house. I've made this threat several times. Streets of Rage 2 has been the best beat 'em up for years. Seriously, it and TMNT 4 were the best beat 'em ups for their respective consoles. Like, they were 1 and 2 for years, and I couldn't think of any other games that came close. But Streets of Rage, there's something about it. The amazing graphics, the banging soundtrack, challenging gameplay, and that crisp way of just going through, and it just feels so good in your hand. Put it at God tier. Even Streets of Rage 3 is not considered as good. It introduced 2 new characters in Max and Skate, and we can also use a katana. A katana! In the middle of the streets! Like, people can say it has been taken over by Streets of Rage 4, but come on, that only just came out recently. But you can still use the old Streets of Rage 2 sprites in that game, which is just such good fan service. In fact, I will put Streets of Rage 2 as one of the best games ever made. Yes, that is a bold statement, but I stand by it. See, these games listed above are just some of them. There's not all. Like, I guarantee there are plenty of other games which stand the test of time. Retro games are just so important to gaming, and they still continue to inspire developers and captivate new generations of players. Like, if you're new to gaming, go out and find these titles and experience the magic we experienced as kids. But honestly, I want to hear from you. What other games do you feel have aged like fine wine? Like, that's how we get this on the algorithm, likes and comments, because then more people can see it and the discussion can continue. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do another one of these in the future, so give me some ideas that I can talk about. And as always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. My name's been Danny. Bye bye.